All right, this is part number 4 to the TTI, or the Canik TTI Combat porting adventure. So I just upgraded it to 8 ports. That's my great ports, and we're going to see how it runs. The 6 ports ran really well. I'm wondering if this is going to be too much. I don't know. We'll find out. This does still have the stock recoil spring in it. So like I mentioned in the last video, this gun does come with a reduced power recoil spring. So if needed, we can switch over to that. So just like in the last videos, I have 20 rounds of 115 grain MagTech, and this is going to be the first shots. I have not put any rounds through this since I modified the ports to the 8. So you're going to see the first shots. All right, it runs good. I might have misspoke when I said that the 6 was kind of the sweet spot. That feels really good as well. Now the one thing I don't like about this mod is you do have to change out the factory sights. So if you can see there, I now have a shorter front sight. This is a set of sights from Angry Bear Arms. So you do have to do that. The long front sight that comes on here will hang over top of this window. So I will probably offer this, as long as all this testing goes well, I will offer this with 2 ports all the way up to 8 ports. So 7 and 8 are going to require that front sight to be changed out to something smaller, or you just take it off and don't run it. Honestly, this gun, when I put an optic on it, I could really care less if it's even going to have iron sights on it. So honestly, if I take this and get it Cerakoted and stuff, I might not even put the sights back on it. I might just run it as is with an optic and call it done. But that initial test went well, so we'll get the ransom rest set up like we've done in the other videos, test the different ammos, and then I'll come back and put an assortment of ammo through it and see if we can make it through this test without any malfunctions. All right, well, no issues with any of those tests. Everything did well. So, like I said, maybe I misspoke on the last video. Maybe the great ports are great after all. So, again, this mod just does require a little bit more work, in that the front sight has to be replaced. I am still not going to touch the factory comp that comes on it. In my opinion, it's just not worth it. Even if I open that up, I'm not going to be able to open it up enough that it's going to make any difference. So I'm just leaving that alone. I'll do the inline ports. I'll get all the options up on my website, And then to end the test, 20 rounds again, just a mix up of the different ammo. I think 124 PMC is what I have in the last round. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so I did notice I got slide lock back, some brass that was ejecting a little weaker. I think that is the PMC, the 124 grain PMC bronze. That did seem to have the most velocity loss on the chronograph. And I think, because the way I loaded it, that probably was. Each round that seemed like it had a weak ejection was probably the PMC. So, again, it functioned. I didn't have any malfunctions. Just some of that brass did not go out as far as I wanted it to. So, I will swap out the recoil spring, and I'll run a whole mag of that PMC 124 through it and see how it does. So these don't actually tell you what the poundage is, but the other one, if you can see that there, you probably can't see it. It says low on it, and it is a different color. This one's silver, this one's that bronze gold color. So that is a lower power spring. So we'll put that in there. All right. Load up a mag of, so this is the PMC bronze 124 grain. The 124 grain American Eagle did seem like it had a little bit more velocity to it. Probably even had a little bit more recoil to it, which means that it's not either losing as much power, maybe because of the type of powder that they use, or it's just a hotter load to begin with. Let's see here. So this says 1,110 feet per second on it. And the Federal 124 says 1,150. So, you know, a little hotter, and just that little bit might be the difference. But let's finish loading this up. So when I do all of my port testing, I like to do it all with the stock recoil springs, just to verify that it does work and function with the stock springs. I'm that guy who doesn't like to change out a lot of parts. So even on a mod like this, I like to run as many, stock parts as I can in the gun. And again, no malfunctions. I just want to see if I get a little bit better brass ejection with this spring. And what I have found with a lot of my ported guns is I am dropping down that spring weight just because the gun just feels better when you're shooting it. Not necessarily because I have cycling issues, just because it kind of tunes that gun and makes it just feel nicer while you're shooting it. So, all right, I got this loaded up. I've got the low power recoil spring in there. So let's see what happens. That did seem like it was ejecting a little better. Gun felt a little different. It's kind of hard to say. But that brass did seem to be going just a little bit further, a little bit better. So obviously that configuration should work too with the low power spring in it, if you want to run it that way. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. Like I said, I will get all those options up on my website. I will have 2, which I didn't test, 3, 4. All of those will work with the factory slide without having to modify anything. I'll make those work with the windows that's already there. So that will just be like a barrel mod. You can just send the barrel in. I don't need the slide for 2 through 4. 5, I have to start cutting the window bigger. So 5 and 6, cut the window bigger, leave the factory front side on. And then 7 and 8, obviously cut the window bigger, and you'll either have to remove the factory front sight or get something that is a little shorter and not as long. All right, thanks for watching.